Rescue efforts continue in George at the site of a building collapse that has claimed 7 lives. Executive Mayor of the George Municipality, Leon van Wyk, joins me now as we continue the conversation on this tragedy. Leon, thank you so much for your time. First and foremost, we have heard from the emergency personnel on the ground. We've heard from representatives of the Western Cape government. We've heard from the families of those who are either still buried alive or of those who have lost loved ones. What support is being provided to the families currently?
Yes, there's support at various levels. We've made facilities available right close to the site where the families can gather, and certainly they have been there, and they don't want to leave the site, and I think that is very understandable. So from the perspective of providing food, refreshments, and other needs, those have been provided for, but naturally a very difficult situation. We've also provided counselling services where there are social workers who are with them all the time and dealing with their needs there. And we've also established links with the interfaith religious community that are able to interact with them. And if there's any need for counselling and private counselling, we are also making use of the provincial offices, which are also adjacent. So that process is all underway at present to provide that level of support. And, I think as we move forward and get to those levels of possible uncertainty as the days progress, the recovery operation, that various, or the assistance there will no doubt be commensurate then with what needs to be done. So I think we're trying to do the best we can, and I think it's very, very difficult circumstances, and we feel for each of those family members, and naturally, also have been offering condolences to the families of each of those who have become fatalities in this disaster.
We are using live pictures during this interview. As we talk to you right now, what we're seeing is the continued search and rescue efforts of the emergency personnel experts who are currently on the ground. I am in conversation with Leon van Wyk, the executive mayor of George Municipality. While we engage him, we are still able to see what is happening currently with the men and women who have been assigned to this very difficult task, really just trying to find ways to rescue the 39 who are still remaining underground as we speak in George in the Western Cape. Much has been said, Leon, about the current crisis, the tragedy that has happened, and a lot of questions have come with regards to who owns this building. Now, as much as the priority is to talk about the search and rescue mission, and the #1 priority is to save as many lives as possible. However, South Africa wants answers, and most importantly, the families want answers. What do we know about the company? And most importantly, what is the role that they are playing in the search and rescue effort?
Yes, the moment that this building collapsed, it then became effectively a crime scene, and it goes under the control of the Department of Labour, because the Department of Labour gets involved. That's their statutory duty in terms of any injury or a death that then takes place on a site such as this. So they need to undertake an investigation. And certainly their teams have been involved all along since Monday afternoon, Monday evening, as well as the SAP's crime scene teams have been there. The provincial government has also appointed a firm of consulting engineers to then undertake a separate investigation, and that naturally will look at what took place in that collapse and what was the cause of it. So those investigations will naturally run in tandem at this stage. and therefore, the rescue then continues. But certainly, we all want to find the reason for this collapse, what took place, and how it came about, because there are definite protocols that have to be followed by a construction firm in terms of having a structural engineer, and that whole engineering fraternity and the safety officers involved in site that need to sign off at the various stages of that construction activity.
All right, and we will certainly allow for these investigations to take place, but what role are the company playing in the search and recovery efforts, if any?
No, they're not playing a role at this stage. Certainly, the municipality, the building plans that we approved, so those plans have been out there, and the rescue team and the coordinators have been using those plans, and obviously to use that to map and to coordinate with what the rubble is at present. And so that has also been helpful then to identify what sort of work may need to be done at a particular point on that site when a spot has been identified where there was a victim that we could go and rescue.
All right, and speaking of that, in terms of the support that the community has provided, there's been much reported about even a local cafe giving out coffees, and we've seen Gift of the Givers on the ground giving out food parcels and just supporting the men and women on the ground who are trying to rescue as many of the workers as possible. What else do you need on the ground? How else can community members or the whole of South Africa or anyone assist, really?
Yes, I think what we've been absolutely blown away by the generosity of the community, of the business sector, and of everybody who have contributed. I've received phone calls. I've seen people come on site, bringing water, bringing refreshments, bringing food. Last night when we were out there, I was quite stunned once again by what was being brought for those rescue workers, and the team on the ground here it's a big team. Initially there were 111 rescuers, and I think we were talking up to a figure of 200 at times yesterday.
All right. Mayor, last but certainly not least, we do know and we completely understand that it takes approximately 3 days, which was what was cited in the briefing that happened yesterday, for this to remain a search and rescue effort. And then after 3 days, it then becomes, it becomes an effort to recover bodies. What is it looking like currently, yes, realistically?
Yes. Look, I think that is part of the area that there were meetings this morning in terms of the rescue team, and I stepped out of a meeting now, a high-level meeting, to come for this interview, where we are talking exactly about those steps of this process of moving from rescue to recovery. Now, what is going to be taking place now during the course of the day is in effect preparing further access to the site, and this whole very, very tricky and difficult process of lifting large concrete slabs off that site. So you sit with layers. If you can imagine a building that has gone up 5 stories, and you've got the various layers of the concrete slabs that now need to be removed step by step, without necessarily causing further damage to the victims down below. But that now needs to be undertaken to get to the point of anybody else who may well be alive there, and it will then move to a body recovery phase thereafter. So we're getting to that point now at 2 o'clock this afternoon, where that will be 48 hours later. And what is said internationally, the international norm is 72 hours. So in this transition now, as we move towards 48 hours and 72 hours, that activity is going to increase, and call it the engineering part of it, is going to have to become a little bit more meticulous in how does one move those slabs. So I think we're also very fortunate with the equipment that we have. We've got a very large crane that has been positioned over that site now since yesterday, and no doubt that crane is now going to be used to assist in moving those slabs. But what we've also seen with the city of Cape Town and the other equipment that's come in from the Western Cape, that equipment will come into great use now further as this work is undertaken. And we also in that position where many of the rescue team that's here have been highly trained in dealing with these sort of eventualities, not that we've seen terribly many in this country.
Thank you very much for your time. That was Leon van Wyk, the executive mayor of George Municipality, where this tragedy has occurred with the collapse of a building where 75 workers were buried alive, 36 now. I believe 39 are believed to still be underground, presumed to be alive, until, of course, the 3-day mark of the search and rescue process has been concluded, after which it will then move on to be a recovery effort. Our thoughts and prayers are with the nation who's holding its breath, especially the families of those who are affected and who have not yet been recovered, and those who've lost loved ones in this tragedy as well.